We started hearing rumblings at the end of the last week and over the weekend about a severe compromise with the U.S. government, specifically the Pentagon. They were hit by a critical compromise of U.S. Air Force communications. And I think all of us that were seeing it were like, oh, great, here we go. What has China done? What has Russia done? What threat actor state has compromised the Pentagon? But wait. It was the USA that compromised the USA. Now, you're saying, Scott, why are you indicating that? Well, sometimes not all threats are external. In this case, they had an employee, a contractor, that kept a lot of gear at their house, about $90,000 apparently, of equipment at their house, and they had the codes and information to be able to use it and tap into the U.S. Air Force communications. Not a good situation overall, right, when you're dealing with this. But the point, or I guess the lesson that gets driven home here is that not all threats are external. Often I'm talking about hackers trying to send you scams and cyber criminals trying to get your money. Sometimes the issue can actually be internal. More frequently than not. Yeah, sure, 95% of all compromises are caused by human error. But we've seen cases where salespeople knew that they were going to be leaving. So they installed Dropbox on their computer and took the sales list and put it in Dropbox. And you go, oh, that's not good. No, it's really bad because now that information just syncs to their computer at home and it's left the organization, the company. So that sales list is now in the wild, if you will, and can be used elsewhere. And there's nothing that company could do to get the data back. Sometimes we've seen malicious people. Back in my old radio station days, we had an on-air announcer that was disgruntled. And back in those days, we had something called 4-track. If you're older, you'll know what 8-tracks looked like, but they were carts with magnetic tapes, and that's what played the music. How did we erase them? We used magnets. So this disgruntled employee took a great big magnet and walked around the room, and we had no idea which carts had been erased, which carts hadn't. I mean, that's some old school stuff, but what happens now in the technology world? We've had a case where IT administrators, you hire them for your company, they're your employee, they are the keepers of the keys of the kingdom. Often those keys are kept up here, and when they leave, they may take the keys with them. We've seen cases where they've left back doors to get back into the network whenever they've wanted. I mean, some of these are extreme cases, right? Not everybody's going to be doing this. Most people are probably generally good, but we are seeing this happening. So what do you do to protect your business? How are you going to know when something bad is happening? There are ways. You can put some stuff in place to be monitoring for those things, to make sure that Dropbox doesn't get installed without your permission, and to do check-ins, and to make sure that we got good backups. So like at the radio station, having to spend many man hours having to take those carts and listen to them going, is there songs there? Does it play all the way through? It was long and laborious and a pain in the butt, to be honest. Well, what happens if someone deletes your database or changes the password and locks it out and deletes your backups? Is there any warnings? Is there any alerting on this that somebody would know so that you can cut down on the time to get back up and running? That's what you got to start thinking about in this situation, fellow business owners and executives. If an apple has gone bad in the cart here, how are we going to make sure it doesn't impact our business? What do we have in place to guarantee our business? Because with safeguarding our business, we're also safeguarding the livelihood of our employees and their families and suppliers and vendors. So this is an integral important thing for us to be considering, to be thinking on. It's not just the bad guys out there that you got to worry about. Sometimes you have to worry about what's already happening in your house. And if your point of failure is one person, maybe it's time to start thinking about outsourcing some extra help. We call it co-managed IT. If you got one guy running around trying to help you with strategy, help you with day-to-day operations, they probably don't have time to be studying up and knowing all about the different aspects of security. But an IT guy is not going to tell you that. They're not going to say they're having issues. And if he's or she is the single point of failure, they up and leave, do you have the keys to the kingdom? Are you sure that the doors are locked? Are you sure bad software hasn't been installed? And if you can't answer yes to those, then it's time to talk with someone and make sure that you are protected. Because as the U.S. Air Force is now learning, not all threats are external.